Thanks for joining Sales with Suli, a mom of three who spent the last 12 summers knocking doors. Welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things women, the ups and downs of my journey, and what it takes to find success on and off the doors. Enjoy this episode.
All right, guys and gals, welcome back to the No Soliciting experience. Well, I guess it's a little co-op. You mind introducing yourself to the people?
So I'm Suli. I don't even know if I want to say like Juliana, Suli Zink, Suli Kahifo. I feel like I'm known with like a lot of different names, but we'll just go by Suli.
Suli. She's known in the industry as Suli Zink and a freaking boss at that. We've been trying to get this done for...
I feel like a long time.
But you're busy.
You're busy. It's literally we're on vacation together is how this happened.
So this is the only way it was going to happen. It's just being on vacation.
It was perfect. I actually asked Ricky to come and like hang out with my team for a bit. And then I'm like, hey, I'll pay for you to come on a trip with us. And then it was just like, plug. That's exactly when we're going to get this done.
Exactly. It just had to happen that way. But I mean, it's been crazy. Like since I've been following you in your journey, it's been nonstop.
Yeah.
Like last year you hit 1,000 accounts. This year you made the transition into solar.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still transitioning into solar. Like I didn't realize like how long solar has been around, and I'm still a newbie.
Oh yeah, we all are. I've been doing this for 7 years, and I'm still learning things every day.
But how long have you like known or dabbled in solar?
7 years.
What?
So I started in solar, but I
didn't know that.
So I started with PPAs back in 2014.
Where?
California.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Ricky, I didn't know that. Wait, so when did you transition into pest control?
In 2017, I left the first company, and then my recruiter, Dustin, he told me that he was going to Long Island to go sell. And I said, New York? He's like, yeah. I'm like, how far is it from Manhattan? He's like 2 hours on a train. He's like, okay, I'm going. And he's like, do you want to know what we're selling? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go anyway.
I'm
going to New York.
Oh my gosh, Ricky, I didn't even know that. That's a fun fact.
So 2018, I think you were in New Jersey, right?
Oh my gosh, I was in New Jersey. That was like my highest contract value year, but like the worst as far as reps. Like I had half my reps who left and went to Vivint during that time. And then the other half, I spent half the summer like bailing them out of cop cars. So that was fun. Yeah.
Yikes. There's always that trade-off though. It's I feel like we can fix it, but it's so hard.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of New Jersey, they weren't used to door knockers. There was no fixing anything, and I felt like I lost a lot of reps who would have been great in the industry, honestly. So it's okay.
Oh, it happens. But yeah, 2018 I started pest and went back and forth in solar, and now I think I'm staying in solar full time.
Full time, huh? Where are you staying?
I don't know yet. TBD.
TBD, let's go.
But yeah, well, Suli, there's so many things we could talk about. I think for me and the people who have been following you, it's the transition from pest to now.
Yeah.
What do you think because we'll talk about it as a leadership in a little bit, but as a rep going from pest to solar, what's been like your experience with that?
It's honestly like scary. Like, and I still get reps to this day who would be phenomenal in solar, but we're good at what we know, and it's hard to jump into something when we've been super successful there. And that was like the biggest thing for me. Like I actually stumbled into solar on accident as I was like training and coaching another girl in solar, and I'm teaching her about mindset and these different concepts that I was like, well, I definitely need to take the time to go and try out solar. And it wasn't supposed to be long-term. I honestly actually asked my last company, I was like, I will come and knock for you for free and still go and do solar. By the time I was like done figuring it out, or like, hey, I'm gonna fully transition over to solar, but because of where I came from and how many women I felt like I would be able to influence and be able to train in like the pest pest control industry, I was like, well, I'm going to transition, but still help out here while I'm going over to solar in the meantime. But I didn't realize that, just with my background and who I am, that I had to choose one or the other. And obviously I chose solar. So
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard being into doing one, but kind of having your foot in the other,
yeah.
or wanting to have your feet in both, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I actually tried to have my feet in all of them. I went and did a blitz for alarms. I did a blitz for dish. I went and did, last was the blitz for solar. Alarms, horrible. I suck at it.
Me too.
Yeah, but internet, I was like, y'all aren't getting paid enough, but this is too easy. And then solar ended up being like the third blitz that I did, all within like a 2-month increment or 2-month period. And then solar, I realized my last summer doing pest control, to do 1,000 accounts, I'm like, if I can just keep on with that momentum and that mindset anywhere else, in 30 knocking days, I made almost tripled what I did in pest control as the #1 rep at my last company. So,
Yikes.
yeah, there wasn't any going back.
Well, there was no going back. How do you feel now? You've been doing it for the year, so 9 months less, maybe?
No, I'll be honest, I've had 110 knocking days in solar.
Jeez. So in 110, where do you see yourself now versus day one?
And a lot of people ask me this, like, there's a lot of people out there who are successful and can just go out a couple of hours. I feel like even my brother can show up for like 2 seconds, go and get right off and go and like close deals and things like that. But from day one, I've always been the type of person, if I don't have a schedule, if I don't have a routine, if I'm not literally practicing it every single day, there's no way that I'm going to find success. I still feel as inadequate 110 days later as I did day one. There is so much to solar, and I can understand why people would have a hard time like transitioning. Like, I'm here and I'm still like learning. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've done a lot of good things, but I still feel the same day 110 as I did day one.
So you mentioned having the sense of being inadequate,
Yeah.
right? Have you always had that mindset, or?
Yeah, like, that saying, a lot of people are just like, you are the people that you surround yourself with. And because I look at myself, I don't have like a ton of close friends in the sense of people who know like the ins and outs. It's just a lot less emotions for me to deal with, but it's also helps me to level up to people that I hope to become. And because I'm always surrounding myself with people who are a lot better than me, it keeps me hungry. That's why I feel super inadequate, because I don't feel like that I spend a ton of my time with people who are at my level. Like, I'm not trying to surround myself with, I run a team, I'm the leader, people are looking up to me, but outside of that, like, the people that I'm looking up to just always reminds me how inadequate that I am, I guess. Yeah.
Kind of like that saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes, and I never tried to be in the right room. So
I always feel like I'm in the wrong room. So yeah. I feel like I'm doing something right. I feel like we're both doing something right.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's funny. There'll be like some concepts in solar that someone will bring up to me, and I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, how have you closed this many deals and you don't even know like what EPC, I didn't even know what EPC meant until probably like a month ago.
I actually learned what the actual words are behind EPC. And I've been doing this for 7 years. I just know EPC is an installer. I didn't know the actual like technical term.
Yes, like my manager and my bosses, they laugh at me all the time at how ditzy and I just don't understand and know a lot of things. But what I do understand and what I do know is that if I just keep putting my head down and just keep working and keeping it simple, things will work out.
I feel like that's a big thing that lacks in this industry, is the fact that people want to know everything. and there's so much overload of information that it keeps them there.
Yes.
And then they just don't know what to do, because I feel like in their mind they process all this information, and that takes up so much more bandwidth than like actually just going and doing the simple thing, which is knocking.
Yes, that's been one of the hardest things for me, is people are reaching out and wanting to know exactly like what I'm doing and why, and like asking like all the differences. It's like emotionally exhausting, because all they're looking for is like the best pay. Like all they're looking for is like the best red line, and they don't understand the entire dynamics of what comes behind solar. And so I'm one of those people. I'm like, hey, go ask so and so. Like, hey, my team is great. Like, you don't need to come if you don't. Like, they ask me more than like 4 questions. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing about solar, is you don't really need to.
Yeah, but this goes to anything.
Yeah.
Pest control, alarms, solar.
Sure.
I think when people overcomplicate it with like marketing deals,
Yeah.
like bonuses, red lines, all these different things, is like, why? Like you're asking all the wrong questions when you can't even sell.
Yes, like even the people who can sell, they're like, well, who do I talk to? Like, they all felt like they need that important person to get up to the very top. And what I've noticed, that all that I've done was like, the people at the top will find you if you're doing the right things. Like, you can literally make the grass green wherever you're at. Just like do it. People are going to come to you, not the other way around. So
it's the industry is such an interesting place.
Yeah, but I like it because it's interesting.
Yeah. The other 9 to 5s just weren't interesting enough, so we stayed.
Yeah. Plus, you're also, 9 to 5. You know, our parents did the 9 to 5. They did all that good stuff, but I could never, ever go back to a 9 to 5.
I can't. No. There's so many things that, are going on in the industry right now. Gosh, we could sit here and talk for hours.
It's true.
Absolutely long times. But yeah, you said you want to bring up some stuff.
Yeah. Normally it's like ladies first, but I just felt like you're cooler, so I'm
no way.
first.
There's no way. There's no way. You're like the coolest person I think I've met in a long time.
You know what's funny is I think that I look cool because my social media crew makes me look cool, but really when you hang out with me in real life, I am like, Suli, you are so slow. Like, I don't even, like, I am not as cool as social media makes me.
No, you're cool because of the people behind with you.
Yes.
Which is your family.
Yes.
And Bobby Ray makes you guys the coolest.
Yes. My family does make me look good, but yeah, my social media crew makes me look even better. So
shout out to your social media crew.
Yes. But no, so back at you. So one thing that I feel like, Ricky, like, you're mysterious to a lot of people. Like, you are in and out and dabble in a lot of different things. Like, I kind of want to know your background, like which industries that you've played a role in. And just where you like come from and where you're at.
No, I'm mysterious for a reason. You cannot put too much on the internet because then people think that they know you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like everyone who doesn't even know me knows me. And I'm like, we never even met in real life.
I know. That's kind of how I feel with the page now.
Yeah.
Because I post what I want to post, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need people all up in my business.
Yeah.
But so I started in solar in 2014. I worked 6 months at a collision repair shop as a painter's assistant because that's what I did before my mission.
Okay.
And then I got recruited into doing solar. I made like more money on my upfront pays working 4 Saturdays.
4 Saturdays doing solar.
4 Saturdays doing solar, making like $275 a kilowatt.
Holy cow. Let me get your paycheck.
No, I wish. I just sold a crap ton of deals at like super low pay.
Shoot.
Back then it was so rough. And then I transitioned into solar. I've helped build like 3 different solar companies. One of them from a dealer to a full EPC and in-house fulfillment.
Wow.
Done pests. I did alarms for 3 weeks. Hated it.
I don't like, people in alarms have a lot of tenacity.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I think when it comes down to it, true salesmanship and like the actual sales skill, alarms are the better people.
Wow. You know what's interesting? A lot of companies for solar are people who came from alarms. Isn't that like funny?
So the guys who I learned from, so the 3 of the 4 owners of the first solar company I worked with all worked with McCarthy and all worked with Petsy back at Platinum.
Wow.
So that's kind of like my intro to sales
is through those two. I love those two.
3, and these and the 2 guys who I work with now, because I do some stuff for them as well. But like that, like sales background is.
Oh, but we can't talk about the people that you work for now.
I'm technically a freelance. Freelance right now.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Are you freelance in the dating life too?
Oh gosh. If I could find a girl who could keep up with my schedule and my traveling.
I've got a couple in line. So.
Oh gosh. But I am just as mysterious in my dating life as I am in what people see me.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started with solar, you went into a couple of other things, and now you're full circle back into solar. Okay.
Full circle back into solar. Yeah. We'll see where I land, though.
Well, I'm kind of excited. But what I do want to talk about, a couple of things. So first of all, because I know that you coach and you dabble in in a couple of different industries, like what are some of the dynamics that you're seeing as people are like reaching out to you from different companies and they're talking about like their definition of success? Like what are some advice that you're giving to first year reps or to rookies or to second year reps or third year reps to actually like level up and find this definition of success that we talk about?
I think first and foremost, understanding what success means to you. For everyone, it's different.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different level of what they are willing to accomplish. Your level of success is different than my level of success, right? And that's the beauty of it, is the fact that, yeah, we have like some steps along the way, but there's no blueprint to what we're doing, right? like your life success is based on, one, I think you explained it really well, is the fact that you surround yourself with people that are better than you.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell everybody. Find somebody who's better than you.
I like that.
Always continuously learn. And for me, it's just investing in yourself. Like so many, this is my thing with the industry. So many companies keep their people within their limit of training.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that they don't like them to go outside of their company training.
Yes.
And I think that is the biggest holdup in the industry, and it's so much of this scarcity mindset.
Yes.
That's why I have the partnerships that I do with like Coda, with Knockstar, with Lindsay, right? With like Jake Hess, Armstrong, all these people, because like we came from that background where I remember Taylor and we approached this guy who was working at Legacy at the time, and we offered to pay him to take him to dinner just to teach us.
Wow. And did he?
No, because he's like, well, you have to come work with us to get that. So now I'm in a position where I encourage everybody, just go buy whatever course you can afford.
Yes.
Once you get the most out of that, go buy another one and go buy another one and just continuously get better.
I love that. Definitely investing in yourself. But no, it's true. And I know that there are like some companies, ones that I've like worked for, it's just like, yeah, we don't want our material to get out. I mean, even like tens of thousands of dollars of fines by even just giving like paperwork out or manuals or anything like that. But I'm really hoping to get out of that for especially the women in the industry too, like just that scarcity mindset. I know I used to come from that and just thinking that, there wasn't enough room at the top for all of us. But I think like even business owners maybe have that mindset as well, as like, no, we have to be the best. We have to be number one. And maybe it's why I'm not a business owner. And I'm okay with that.
And that's the crazy thing. A lot of these business owners, they're salespeople.
Yeah.
Like who said that they can run businesses?
Their pockets.
Their pockets. But realistically, I don't know. In the next few months, just the way I've been seeing things play out, I'm going to be posting some things and just talking about my personal opinions, and it's going to ruffle some feathers.
I love ruffling feathers. I'm in a bunch of feathers right now being ruffled, but privately. So I'm kind of stoked to see what kind of feathers that you're ruffling. But along the lines with feathers being ruffled. I kind of want to talk about this concept that I feel like it's kind of taboo. I don't think I've ever heard a lot of people like talk about it openly. And the only reason why I think about this concept a lot is because of my own transition, like into a different industry. I had done pest control for like the last 12 years, been the same company, but I'm loyal to a fault. Like I truly, and I feel like that's like a good trait and a bad trait for women. And I feel like a lot of times that we can fall into this trap where we look up to like our male leaders or just leaders, period. And we get this emotional tie to where we are like so afraid to do anything that would get them to be upset, that would do anything to where you would feel like they look down on you. And I think that kept me longer in an industry, whereas a lot of people were like, Suli, you were wasting your time in small contracts when you could be going elsewhere. And I didn't understand that until being here in solar. But I look back and I think about the reasons that kept me there for so long. And it's because I was so concerned to how I was going to look to my leaders. Like I was so concerned about hurting their feelings. I was so concerned about like, oh my gosh, like they did so much for me, but they paid me for a service that I rendered. And I was never putting myself first. So the concept that I kind of want to talk about just for a little bit is like emotional manipulation from team leaders, from other reps, from business owners. We even get them from our parents and whatnot. But as you're transitioning back into solar and you're dealing with reps from different dynamics, like what are some things that they're telling you that they're afraid of to be able to transition into other companies? Like, why are people so scared to go and up level themselves in someone else's company? Like, why?
I think they're scared of letting people down. John C. Maxwell talks about the law of the lid, that you're only going to perform as high as that lid is. So wherever that ceiling is at, that's where you go, and that's as high as you'll go. So wherever your leader is at, that's as high as you're going to go.
My leaders are pretty high.
Real leadership comes down to understanding that if your people, here's what it comes down to. If your people really care about you, if your leaders really care about you, they're going to want you to succeed, whether it's with them, but they will know their limits. I tell all my reps, like, look, if you feel like you can do better with someone else, go. I know my limits.
Yeah.
And apparently you reached my limit.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the thing. It's like for me, right? In a relationship, if somebody doesn't want to be with me, don't be with me.
Yeah. And I think for me, as I'm seeing that, as I'm like running a team and actually like enjoying it, and it's become like organic, I've never felt the need more often than to like look at that human being and being like, look, like, I am going to be here. Whether you come or not, I'm like, I want you to level up. I want you to be successful. But if that means being somewhere else or being on a different team, like what kind of leader am I if I'm going to be like, no, you're not going to find success anywhere else except right here on my team. Like, no, you're not going to go and do like any better. But
people are short-minded. I think the reason people are emotionally manipulate reps into staying is, one, for financial compensation. The way I see it, as my goal is to impact lives. Like, this is my selfish thing about me, is I want people to know who I am. I want to be not like famous, but I want people to know who I am for generations to come.
I love it.
I can't do that if I don't let people outgrow me.
I love it.
And that's the thing. Leaders are scared for their people to outgrow them.
Yeah.
I want my people to outgrow me.
That's actually what happened in the last solar company that I started. I mean, I started with a different solar company, and the person who, semi-recruited us is like, we just grew in like seconds and he hated us, and then wanted to find every negative thing to say because we literally outgrew him in a matter of weeks. And it wasn't even that we were trying. It was just that we were working. But I love that you said that, like, a true leader is not having that scarcity mindset of the simple fact that people should outgrow you. Like, am excited. Like, I tell my girls all the time, like, I want you guys to be better than me. Like, I want you guys to find all the success. I want to step away. I want to
Me
figure out a
too.
way to,
Me
like,
too. You really think I want to stay on the doors?
yes.
Do you really think people, honestly, do you think people want to stay on the doors?
No.
No. So how do you do that? You help people outgrow you.
Yeah, it's true.
By the time that they outgrow you, you are now put in a position where your time is better spent growing and developing leaders.
I love it. But along the lines with doing that, like, how is like a rep who's probably transitioning to a different industry, how do we avoid being like, or how do we walk away from being manipulated, like, emotionally? Like, how do we, first of all, identify that concept if it's happening to us, and how do we choose to walk away?
One, the biggest thing is you have to take emotions out of it.
Yeah.
It comes down to your life. Like, this is your life.
Yeah.
Understanding that if it's not going to make you happy, it doesn't matter how good your deal is, because you're going to be out there, you're going to be regretting it, you're going to be in this bad mood because you don't want to be there. And what is that going to do? It's going to force you to put on crappy accounts. What happens when you put on crappy accounts? They don't
cancel.
They just cancel. They don't retain. So now for example, if you're selling 100 accounts, you have 10 drop off during the season, but because you're in a bad spot emotionally and mentally, 20, 30 more cancel after that. After backends, you put in 100% effort and you're getting paid anywhere from 60 to 70% of your effort.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, there's this line that has just been said as I transitioned over from one of my leaders. And I love that they were like, you should never be loyal to a company. Like, don't even be loyal to me. Don't even be loyal to your leaders. Like, the person that you need to be loyal to is yourself. And I am going to live by that for like years to come. For those of you reps, male or female, who feel like they're in a situation or in a contract where they feel like that they are emotionally and mentally bound to a human being who has nothing to do with like the rest of their private lives, like, walk away. Like, if you are not happy in the dynamics that you're going to be, if you feel in any way, shape, or form that you are emotionally or being emotionally manipulated to stay there, like, walk away. I made the mistake for too many years staying there. And I'm going to continue from the top of the mountains to scream, if I'm not it for you, it's totally fine. I'm going to continue to cheer you on wherever you are. And I hope that we can all have that same abundant mindset. I kind of want to go into kind of me and the space that I'm trying to bring, or the awareness that I'm hoping like male leaders and even those of us female leaders will be able to start implementing, in our own teams and in our own companies. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, you've been in the game a little while. You've probably been on some teams with women and been on teams where you haven't. But what are some disadvantages that you feel that you have seen on some of your teams that do and don't have women on them?
Disadvantages on not having women on the team is, well, there are a few. I mean, I've been around teams where there's women, and I think women bring a sense of balance to the team. Given the right environment and given the right leadership, yeah, there's balance to the team. The disadvantages for women that I've seen, it's unfortunate that just male leaders don't know how to lead women.
Yes. And I think even some of us, like female leaders, I mean, I didn't. Like, this was definitely something that I've learned and still trying to learn how to do for like the last couple of years. And those are some of the things that I do want to address and talk about. And as I'm sitting with different men, like in the room, I'm hoping to just leave a couple things behind, but also to learn from each of you guys who are finding success with teams. Like, what are some skill sets or what are some things that you feel like women should have as they're coming into the industry and, trying to help level out this male dominant industry?
I would say the things that I've seen is that as long as a woman wants to like learn and be better, I think she has every opportunity that males have, I think they have a better advantage.
Yeah. I even like on the doors, I tell my female reps all the time, like how many more times or how many more seconds that you're going to get on the doors, like longer than a guy would.
Yeah, for a fact, for like when I go up to the door, people see this big brown dude. They're like, they already come out of their house or barely open the door. They're like, oh crap, this dude is huge and he's brown. Like, I'm gonna say anything, get him off my door.
Like, who is this guy?
Who is this
like,
guy? I have a massive uphill battle every single door.
Yeah.
Women just naturally can like diffuse that situation.
I agree.
If they can learn to adapt, take out the emotion, and just strictly want to get better, I think women can be better than men at sales.
For one, I'm gonna say yes. I agree, but there's definitely, and I know like probably some people listening to this podcast, or even some men who, you know, I've seen like some comments on social media and things like that. Like, let's not make this a male female. Like, let's not make this about like boys and girls, when I want nothing of that source. What I want more of is just how much more balance we can bring to the teams. Like, how much more growth can we bring in our own companies by focusing on some of the women that we're not focusing like on in our normal lives. But what are some changes that you think we can implement in a male-dominated industry with certain teams to be able to bring awareness to those female reps on the team?
I think it comes down to communication between both parties. Setting clear expectations, especially one as a male team lead to women on his team. Like, both parties need to understand. Like, I would tell girls who have been on my teams, and whenever I shadow them, whenever I've been training them, like, look, if I come at you and I tell you to do this, it's not because it's me being a dick. This is me just trying to help you.
Yeah.
Right? So from the get-go, like, look, because this is the way I see it, right? Whenever I'm training, whenever I'm shadowing like a girl rep, I think, what if this were like my little sister?
Yes.
Right? Like, how would I want somebody to treat my sister and help her succeed?
I love that. Yeah, like a sister, aunt, cousin, friend.
Because I think about it, you guys have an uphill battle already. I think the biggest thing is people. Well, one, the lack of communication, and too much emotional involvement in the situation.
Yeah. And along with that, like, I actually want to leave some tips and kind of just some things for those of you team leaders and just those of you men in the industry. Like, first of all, I just want to thank those of you men out there who are definitely helping bring more awareness. And I want to thank you, Ricky, for just connecting me with other women who are needing a little bit of help, and just like vice versa, like other women who's been able to help me. And you men in the industry, especially leaders, don't even realize like how much of an ace, or how, I don't know what to say, but that's for you guys to be able to connect other women who would be similar, you know, in that space is going to be something that's huge to be able to help build your guys' teams. Like, something else that I do want to leave behind, as most of you guys are going to be in the postseason, you guys are going to be in the recruiting season. And for those of you guys who may be sitting in rooms with other women, one, share with them exactly the path that it would take for them to be at the top. Like, draw out the entire, like, if you do X, Y, Z, you're going to be exactly where I'm at or above. Like, women love that. To be able to have your goals shared with us and vice versa, it's like, holy cow, I believe in their dream. Like, I see where this can go. Like, I definitely want to get there too. So take the time to actually share your vision with women in the industry. 2, stop making us compete against each other. That was one of the things that was super hard in my first few years, and why I was just so catty, and why I was like, I never wanted any women reps like on my team, because there were so few of us on a team. And in the industry, it was just like, hey, Suli, that girl is doing better than you. And I never even met her. So what am I doing? Well, I'm not going to share with her any tips. I am not going to allow any space for her to even beat me in any way, shape, or form. You know, I bought into that negative, like, scarcity mindset, and it's my own choice, but it was the help of my male leaders in pitting me up against. There's plenty of other male reps on the team that I could be put up against that are going to be at the same level. It doesn't need to be against another girl. Like, all of us girls need to be here rooting each other on. And women, like, on your team, they want to be included. Like, people do not understand that the little things matter. Like, I've actually had some female reps reach out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, my team leader legit, as an incentive, made this like pink collared shirt for me with my name on it. And all I did was like knock like 125 doors. Like, it like made her day and week and month, and her sales just catapulted because her male leaders just thought about just the little things. And so, again, 3 of the things that I'm going to leave behind for those of you in this off season who are looking at bringing more women on your team. It's definitely going to bring more balance, more growth. But 1, sharing with them your vision. 2, don't pit us up against each other and have us competing against each other. And what did I say that the 3rd one?
Be thoughtful.
Yes. The little things matter to women, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's your mom, whether it's your sister. No, in this industry for female reps, the little things matter.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And just a thought on not sharing secrets. It doesn't matter if you tell them everything, they still won't do it.
It's true.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. Yep. I think that's the biggest issue in this industry is the ego and the pride. Like, learn to put it away, because there are people out there better than you.
Yeah.
This last week, like, I was out with the Waco team, like, setting, and I had to put my pride aside. 7 years of, like, solar experience, and listen to Pure's lead setter trainer.
Yes, it's hard.
It's hard. But that's what it comes down to, is understanding that, 1, going back to it, be in the room with people that are better than you.
Yeah.
And understand when people are better than you, right?
Yeah.
Truly understand, because people will tell you, oh, I do this, I do that. But most of the time, a lot of people are full of crap.
Yes.
Like, truly understand. Like, the way I see it is that if I would trade my life with theirs, would I do it? You know, like, that's kind of how I approach, like...
In every aspect.
In every aspect. In every aspect, right? It's like, okay, cool, yeah. What are they doing? I got to do what they do.
Yeah.
I got to learn what they do. And even then, like, I found myself not wanting to implement some of these things. And it just comes down to, 1, the awareness. This is huge. Like, being aware when your ego and your pride is coming into play.
Yeah.
And put it to the side and be like, okay, whatever they're doing is working. Let me apply, because it's working for them.
I know.
Why
wouldn't it work for me?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was just like the same thing that I took as I transitioned over, was just like that mindset. If I can make it work here, I can make it work anywhere. And that's going to be for any industry, any rep. Like, yeah, you're going to have to put your pride aside. All you're going to be doing is just learning a few different concepts. But as you're consistent, it'll work out. Yeah.
And I mean, why not take on new things? Why not take on new ways of setting, of closing?
Yeah.
Because clearly there's someone better than you. Clearly there's somebody making more money than you.
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing what they're doing?
Exactly. I don't mind copying someone better than me.
No, and that's yeah, I can go and talk hours about this.
Well, we're not going to.
But we're not going to, because yeah, it's going in one ear and out the other. Ultimately, I just love the fact how you, 1, empower women, 2, you're continuously working on yourself, and 3, like, you're doing things that aren't easy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked, like, behind the camera, and it's like, oh my gosh, like,
yeah, the emotional toll and roller coaster. I don't even know, like, sometimes how I'm still like living.
Yeah. But that's what it takes.
Yeah. I know that there's going to be a handful of girls that are going to find some kind of use over everything that I've going through, and the things that I continue to share. And for, like, as you were talking about, you know, you want people to remember you. You want people to know you and things like that. Like, I want to be known as, like, you know, Suli, one of the big sisters who started to bring a little bit of awareness, but it's not going to end with me. It's going to end with, you know, the Lindsays and Ambers and all these women, like, everywhere, all of us coming together. And not just women, even like those of you, like, male leaders who are taking the time to reach out to us, who want to elevate us, who want to help us to level up. It's going to just take a lot of us. But I just want those of you guys to know that I appreciate you guys. And this isn't about male or female, but I know that as we continue to help women level up, it's only going to help our businesses, our teams in this industry just level up too.
That's what it is. Ultimately, that's why we do this job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. But the financial compensation is worth it. So as a business owner, as a team lead, why not try and unify it? Like, it's so one-sided. It's so one-sided that it's a little disappointing to see that if you can't unify, like, as you work and as you successfully unify the male and females in your company, it just raises the tide. Everyone makes more money, and that's why we do this.
Exactly. And it's just going to start with the little things. And I feel like a lot of us are actually helping bring awareness that there are little mind shift changes that I'm seeing in a lot of different companies. And so I'm kind of stoked to see where this goes over the next
big time. This isn't like, actually, yes, this is exactly how it's going to sound. If you don't get ahead of the curve, you're going to be watching from the sideline.
Yeah. So come join us. Help bring more awareness in your teams, your businesses, and your companies.
Exactly. So I have a question, and I've been wondering this. So one, what sparked the women empowerment movement, and two, how have you seen that grown, and where do you see it going?
So this is the funny thing is people who know me now wouldn't even know how much that I refused to have women on my team when I first started in this industry. Like, so when I started 13 summers ago, yeah, I was on a team with like 8 other women, and I did not enjoy it at all. Like, a lot of the girls on their team were looking to get married, were looking to, just have a good summer. But, I was disowned by my parents. I was looking to prove a point. Like, I was basically there to, get out of debt and become financially free. And a lot of the women that I had started with, I just had this bad taste in my mouth. I bought in to what the industry taught me about women, that one, were emotional, that two, like, I felt like I was definitely a woman stuck in a man's body as far as like my mindset. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I did have the shift, as, I had like my last son, and I, almost lost my life as I was giving birth to him. I thought back to when I first started into the industry and how scarce my mindset was, like how like horrible of a female rep that I felt like I was, like, not giving back. And so it was from that day forward that I felt like I needed to do something, whether it was going to come out of my own pocket or not, to be able to give back to this community, to be able to give back to this space who's done so much for me. And so I've made it a mission to, if I can just help, 1 or 2 women, like, be able to elevate themselves on their teams, in their industries, like, I feel like I'm making up for my lack of empathy, my first 4 or 5 years in this industry. And where I see this going is a whole industry full of women. It doesn't matter, if I'm out there with Vivint, or if I'm out there with Dish or Satellite, or whatever it is in the industry. Like, there's going to be women who's going to be rooting on other women, and they're not even wearing the same shirt. There are going to be other female reps who are going to be cheering on girls in their companies that they don't ever see each other, period. Like, I am hoping that this industry for like women becomes this whole like force of women who are going to be examples to other women who are returning from missionary or from their missions, or women who are just like coming out of high school, who are so deathly afraid of this industry, who are just like, this is just meant for men, like only men do well. Like, my whole thing is this industry is going to level out, and women are going to become VPs, CEOs, regionals. We don't have that here, and that's exactly what I'm hoping to see here in these next couple of years.
That's exciting. And as you were talking, I've been around a lot of really successful people, and one of the things that you embody is the giving back.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a good leader, look at that. How much they're willing to give back.
I love that. No,
Because
it's true.
It's we talk about it. If people want to know how successful their leaders are, check to see how abundant they are or how scarce they really are.
Yeah. I love that. Like, absolutely. I've definitely come from a scarcity mindset to a lot more abundance in the last couple of years.
Same. Yeah. I grew up, I feel like maybe we had very similar upbringings. I grew up poor.
Yeah.
We grew up like counting pennies.
Yeah. Cockroaches were my roommates.
Oh man, yeah. That was some rough upbringings. But it's just the shift.
Yeah.
It first starts with you. It first starts with yourself. If you can make that shift yourself, you can't make the shift in anybody else.
It's true. I'm just stoked to see where I go, to where we grow. But I love that. Just see what kind of a abundant mindset your team leaders have.
Exactly. And if we want to talk about how do we get out of these emotional manipulations, test it.
Yeah.
Like, people think that this doesn't work. Test them. Just be like, I don't know if I want to come back next year.
Yeah.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't, right? But just test it. Like what do you have to lose? Oh, well, they ended up being a great leader. Cool. Now you're solidified with your leadership, whether that's doing pests, alarms, or solar, whatever it may be.
I like
right?
it.
But if they come at you and they start almost attacking you, that's your first red flag.
Yep. And that's what I seen a lot of. It was just like all the negativity was what comes out first when people are trying different companies. And then the empathy comes second when they're trying to get them to wheel them back in. And that was exactly what it was for me. It was just like, oh, nope, you're not doing that. And then they see I'm not coming back. It's like, oh, we'll give you this. Oh, we'll do this. Oh, we'll do. Yeah. Where was that when we first started the conversation, you know?
There you go. These are tips. These are tips, guys and gals.
And
we've been through it. We've been through it. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it. Oh, gosh.
You're good. I felt like now I'm just rambling.
But yeah, one last thing.
You already said that twice, but...
Yeah, this is how I am. This is how I am. Like, everyone who knows me knows that, like, I'm very sporadic in my thinking.
Same.
But the most, I guess, to wrap her up here, if you were to give one piece of advice to the industry, what would that be?
If I were to give one piece of advice to the industry.
Or a few.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is going to be once you've found your self-worth, the external success is going to come. I think that's been like the biggest thing and shift for me. A lot of people ask how did you do 1,000 accounts? Like, how are you doing so well with solar? And it has nothing to do with what I'm doing on the exterior, but everything to do on what I'm doing on the interior. So if I could give one piece of advice, it's working on loving yourself. The more that you find yourself, the more that you can be around yourself when no one else is around, the possibilities are going to be so endless.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on my Females Knockers Unite page. I'm also, my podcast is called Sales with Suli on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is. Well, hubby uploads all of that, but it's on my link in my profile. And yep, Knockers Unite page. I'll just leave it at that.
Cool. Female
Knockers Unite.
If you're a woman in the industry and you're not following this page, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Thanks, Ricky.
Big time. And I mean that. I absolutely, sincerely, genuinely mean it. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And you have my support 100%.
I'm a hug now.
Yeah.
We're hugging. Those of you guys who can't hear us, he's awesome.
But yeah, we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for taking the time to tune in. If I've added any kind of value to your thoughts on knocking doors, please share this podcast with another female rep. Until next time, know that you are capable, you are valued, and most importantly, you are enough.